Right now, Drake's career looks like it's crashing in slow motion, and yet he still finds a way to make headlines in the worst way possible. Despite all the slip-ups, failures, and humiliations both in music and outside of it, he's managed to dig himself even deeper. Remember at the end of 2024 when he shocked the entire industry by becoming the first rapper to ever file a lawsuit over rap beef? That move had everyone's jaws on the floor. The first set of papers he filed claimed that Kendrick Lamar's monster hit Not Like Us was built on lies, that over 1 billion streams were fake, and that the song's success wasn't about love from the people, but about machines and shady manipulation. Drake basically screamed to the world that Kendrick's anthem was a fraud propped up by labels and algorithms. But here's the wild twist. Out of nowhere, the case is already over. Drake quietly backed out, withdrawing the petition he swore was for the integrity of the industry. No warning, no explanation, just done. And by walking away, he didn't just back down from Kendrick, he exposed himself as someone who never cared about artists' rights at all. He had framed this whole thing like he was standing up for every musician, fighting for fairness in streaming. But with one move, Drake proved it was never about the bigger picture. It was about his own pride, his own bruised ego, and his obsession with tearing down Kendrick Lamar's biggest victory. And now, the only thing he's proven is that he'll go to extreme lengths, make a global spectacle of himself, and then fold when the heat gets too real. What Drake just pulled off might look small on the surface, but the truth is, he just made things worse for every single artist in the game. Nobody's talking about it yet, but the move he made has put musicians in an even tougher spot than before, and he did it all for himself. This wasn't about justice, this wasn't about fairness, this was about Drake chasing his own agenda while fooling his fans into thinking he was some kind of savior. Think about it. He hyped up this lawsuit against Not Like Us as his big moment to become the industry's hero, the guy who would finally give artists more power over labels. He made it sound like he was fighting for every rapper, every singer, every struggling artist trying to break free, but people who already knew Drake saw right through it. They knew it was a front, and now he's just proved it in the most embarrassing way possible. Because what actually happened? He went back to the very same court where he first made his claims and begged them to shut it all down. He withdrew the case completely, basically admitting he was never serious about it to begin with. Imagine the arrogance. Creating a storm, dragging Kendrick's name through the mud, and then just walking away like nothing happened. And the fallout? Drake's camp is trying to spin it, saying Spotify's cool with all this because streams will keep running no matter what. But when it comes to UMG, they've stayed silent. No statement, no comment, nothing. Which makes the whole thing look even shadier. Drake's stunt didn't just flop, it exposed the cracks in the system and reminded everyone that his words can't be trusted. Drake pulling the plug on this case isn't just about lawyers and paperwork. It screams that things behind the scenes are boiling over. On the surface, it looks like just another canceled dispute, but in reality, this shows how shaky his position really was. Word is, he either got sat down by his label and told straight up that he had zero chance of winning, or he finally realized that dragging this out could blow up in his face. Because here's the truth, Drake has benefited from the exact same shady tactics he was accusing Kendrick of using. He's made more money and gained more traction from streaming boosts, playlist placements, and label pushes than nearly any other artist alive. So the second he tried to paint Not Like Us as fake, he was basically opening Pandora's box and risking the industry pulling the receipts on him. And imagine the disaster if that happened. His fans, the ones who've always believed in his legend status, would see through the facade and his image could crumble overnight. What started as just a distraction when Kendrick's album dropped could have turned into an industry-wide trial against Drake himself. It gets even crazier. Some of Drake's so-called evidence came from content creators like DJ Academics. That's right, one of the loudest internet personalities was listed as a main source for why Not Like Us wasn't legit. That alone made the whole case look like a clown show. How do you go to war with Kendrick Lamar, with Academics' quotes as your big weapon? So whether it was fear of exposure, pressure from his label, or just realizing how ridiculous his claims sounded, one thing is clear, Drake didn't think this through. Instead of proving Kendrick wrong, he only proved how sloppy, desperate, and reckless his play really was. It's almost laughable at this point. Drake and his camp were hyping this lawsuit like it was going to change the entire industry forever. He was out here sending messages, dropping hints, and telling anyone who'd listen that he was about to expose Kendrick Lamar and flip the music world upside down. But just like we've seen before, think family matters. Drake and his crew are loud when it comes to talking big. But when it's time to actually deliver, silence. Nothing but smoke and broken promises. And the funniest part? Some of his fans are really trying to spin this by saying the industry got scared of Drake. Like somehow he forced everyone else to back down, when in reality, he's the one who ran away. He's the one who canceled the very claims he bragged about, and that fact alone makes him the loser in this situation. It's giving deja vu, just like when he ducked out after The Heart Part 6. Different lanes, sure, but the pattern's the same. The second things get too heavy, Drake bolts, then tries to rewrite history like he still came out on top. And now, while nobody knows his exact next move, one thing's clear. He still has a few of these lawsuits floating around, and maybe he thinks one of them has a shot, but the fact he already backed down so fast from this one shows the weakness in his whole game plan. Let's be real. Going to war with the entire music industry, armed with a document built on DJ Academic's commentary, was doomed from the start. Drake wanted to erase the sting of losing the rap battle to Kendrick by dragging the courts into it. But all he's proven is that his empire of excuses crumbles the moment it's tested, and the speed at which he folded already shows just how shaky his confidence really is. One thing is for sure, Drake's meltdown has just made life harder for every artist out there, because he couldn't handle reality, couldn't take accountability for losing a rap beef, and decided to run with one of the sloppiest, most embarrassing sets of claims we've ever seen. He's now poisoned his own relationship with his label, and this is coming from the same Drake who helped shape the watered-down, repetitive industry we see today, and then had the nerve to step out of line and attack the very machine that built him up in the first place. Now labels everywhere are watching this mess closely, and trust me, they've already taken notes. These companies adapt fast, and they're ruthless, so instead of loosening control, they're going to lock things down even tighter. Drake's little stunt just made sure it's going to be harder than ever for future artists to reach his level, let alone even dream of challenging their labels the way he did. And the worst part? All of this happened because Drake was bitter over a rap battle loss. That's it. Not because he cared about fairness, not because he wanted to fix the industry, but because his pride couldn't handle Kendrick Lamar winning. And now, when a real innovator finally comes along, an artist who could actually spark change and bring something valuable to the system, they'll be facing walls that Drake helped build. His tantrum didn't just fail, it may have shut the door on progress for the next generation. Drake had the chance to spark something monumental, a true breakthrough moment in music history. If someone else had stepped up with the right message, the right timing, and the right proof, it could have shaken the whole industry. But instead of making history, Drake wasted it. Why? Because he came in swinging with nothing more than a flimsy sheet of paper backed by DJ Academic's words and his own bruised ego. That's what he tried to build this entire movement on. And canceling it so quickly only proves he knew he was doomed to lose. Think about how wild this is. A superstar at Drake's level claimed he was taking on the fight for all artists, but in reality, the only person he was fighting for was himself. He wasn't trying to fix the system. He was trying to patch his pride after Kendrick Lamar washed him in a rap battle. This wasn't bravery, it was desperation. And while fans might not feel the full weight of this yet, the ripple effects are coming. Drake's clash with his label is going to echo across the industry for years to come, not because he made a heroic stand for musicians, but because he fumbled the opportunity so badly that labels now know exactly how to shut down any future artist who dares to challenge them. Let's be real, Drake has spent his entire career riding every shady trick in the streaming era to stay on top. Year after year, he followed the worst practices to keep numbers up. But now, at the very moment when artists are finally learning to take more control over their own work, Drake's ego trip could drag everything backward. What should have been a landmark fight for change has turned into just another chapter in his downfall. If the right artist had stepped up with real evidence and a genuine cause, this could have been a turning point for music, a natural shift in power, a chance to change the way labels treat talent, and a moment that would have mattered in history. But instead, Drake fumbled it so badly that he made even the worst, most desperate rap beef tactics look more respectable than what he just pulled. Drake isn't just looking like the most pathetic rapper in the game anymore. He's looking like the most pathetic artist in the entire music industry right now. What he did wasn't just embarrassing, it actually set all artists back because of his own childish pride. That's insane when you think about how much power he had in his hands and how quickly he threw it away. And the cherry on top? While this mess is still fresh, Drake is already back on social media doing his classic mirror selfies like none of this ever happened. He's acting like it's business as usual, but in reality, every move just makes him look weaker. Even if he somehow managed to survive this from a label standpoint, the truth is Kendrick Lamar now holds the keys to hip-hop in every possible way. So while Drake scrambles for attention online, Kendrick's dominance has only grown stronger. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One man's immaturity just knocked the culture back, while the other now stands as the undisputed leader of the genre. At this point, Drake looks completely disconnected from reality. He doesn't care about his legacy, he doesn't care about respect. And that's why every move he makes keeps getting pettier and more embarrassing. The way he cherry-picked which claims to cancel and which to keep proves it. He's still holding on to one accusation, that his label intentionally tried to ruin his image with Not Like Us. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes it even further, maybe even targeting Kendrick Lamar directly instead of just the label. That's how far gone he is from the artist he used to be. A few years ago, Drake would have never risked his entire reputation on something this ridiculous. Now he's out here telling the world he's fighting for artists' rights. But the second things got risky and could actually hurt his career, he ran for the exit. And in the process, he left every other artist in an even worse position than before. Hip-hop has always been about standing on your word, about proving that what you say has weight. And yet, Drake has shown over and over that he can't stand on anything. That's why this moment is bigger than just a lawsuit. It's exposing him as the most pathetic rapper hip-hop has ever seen. Because if your words don't matter in this culture, then neither does your career. And right now, Drake's career looks weaker than anyone could have imagined. What makes all of this even wilder is that while Drake is stumbling and humiliating himself at every turn, Kendrick Lamar is sitting on the exact opposite side of history. Kendrick didn't have to file lawsuits, he didn't have to cry about streams, and he didn't have to drag labels into the mess. All he had to do was drop Not Like Us, and the culture crowned him. That one record did more for hip-hop than all of Drake's schemes combined, and it didn't need machines or fake numbers to back it up. Meanwhile, Drake's downfall is becoming more obvious every day. The man who once bragged about controlling the charts can't even control his own narrative anymore. Every time he tries to spin the story, it backfires. Canceling one case while holding on to another just makes him look desperate, like he's grasping for anything that might give him back an ounce of credibility. And here's the kicker. Hip-hop is watching. Artists, labels, and fans alike are seeing how this plays out, and the consensus is clear. Drake has no ground to stand on anymore. In a genre where your word defines your worth, he's shown he can't back up anything. On the flip side, Kendrick now looks untouchable. His music, his message, his control over the culture, it all feels bulletproof compared to Drake's mess. Every step Drake takes to try and tear Kendrick down only makes Kendrick look stronger, sharper, and more respected. At this point, the battle isn't even close. Drake's legacy is slipping away while Kendrick's reign grows bigger with every headline. And so with everything laid out, I've got to ask, what do you think about this bizarre situation with Drake? What part of this whole mess do you think is the most embarrassing, and where do you see things going from here? Is Drake digging himself deeper, or is there any way he can even bounce back at this point? I can't wait to read what you have to say down in the comments. If you made it this far, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. It helps me out more than you know. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's next, because while Drake looks more rattled than ever, Kendrick Lamar just confirmed that he and Pusha T are dropping a collab track soon. This could turn into one of the biggest hip-hop moments we've seen in years, and you're going to want to see it unfold. Check out the suggested video, and I'll see you on the next one.